Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope that it's not a whole lot of background noise because I have the fans on, I have the air conditioner on, but I haven't been on in a few days, and I was like, okay, I gotta get a video in, I gotta do a video. And this is Piggy-back Friday. So what I mean by piggyback is a lot of times, like if I'm on YouTube, like if I'm just on social media, YouTube, if I'm on the internet and I come across content, and I may think about it, I may say, that's something that I can really talk about, and then I share my own ideas, I share my opinions, and if I have any personal experiences, I also include that as well. So that's what I mean when I say piggyback. It's just me sharing my own ideas, my own opinions, my own personal experiences in regards to content that was of an interest to me, something that I could really talk about, something that I could really relate to, something that is actually happening right now in this current time. And what I want to talk about today is just when it comes to a woman and her children, when it comes to a woman and her children and a man. That's what I want to talk about today. And I'll just, as I speak to you, I speak to myself, and as I encourage you, I just encourage myself. And I just want, because we're all in this together. I'm talking to the women on today. We're all in this together because I'm a single parent and my children are older. I have actually teenagers. I have a son and I have a daughter, but they weren't born teenagers, they just grew up to be teenagers. But my children, they've been babies, they've been very young and little, and I've been a single parent, and I've never, been married or anything like that. So just being a single parent and having children and taking care of children on your own, and then you're trying to date, there's just a lot that you have to really consider, because you have to think about, like, it's not me anymore. Like, I have kids now, so it's not all about me anymore. It's all about what's actually best for them as well, and sometimes it's like we could want it as a woman, but then you have to say, is this what's really best for my children? Like, should I be bringing a man around my children, And also, too, I want to talk about this, and the topic of conversation is, like, women, don't abandon your children for a man. Like, do not cast your children to the side just to be with a man, And the reason I say that is because I have seen this happen time after time and time after time, where sometimes we just get ourselves talking to a man and getting ourselves hooked up with a man, and us women, we just tend to fall so quick, fast, and in a hurry, and we're always rushing because we just want to be in a relationship with a man, and sometimes we're just always thinking about us, and what we want, and I need to be happy and I want to be with a man. But what's happening is we're moving too fast, quick, in a hurry, and we're rushing into relationships, and then we're moving around from man to man to man, and then we have children, and it's like a lot of times we're getting ourselves involved with men, and it's like every man we get ourselves involved with, we always want to bring them home around our kids. And this is really, really very, very important, because see, when your children are young and when your children are small, you have to even more shield them and protect them. Even more, you have to do things for them, and you have to provide for them. The younger your children are, the more you have to do more for them, the more you have to shield them, the more you have to protect them, the more you try to keep them out of harm's way, the more you need to be there for them and need to be present in their lives, spending time with them, when they're little and when they're small and things like that. And we have to be careful when our children are small and little, and we're just bringing any man around our children, because you have to understand that when children are young, they can't really tell you what's going on, because they don't really have the language skills to actually explain to you if something happened to them. They can't really tell you in words like something bad happened to them. So we have to be careful with that too, that you bring in all these different men around your children, but they're so young and they can't even tell you if this man is doing anything to them or handling them or talking to them any kind of way. And what I mean by do not abandon your kids for a man, what that basically means is don't put a man before your children. And I've known situations where every time a woman gets a new man, she just leave her kids. Like every time she gets a new man, she leaves her kids. And then it has gotten to a place where kids, because as kids grow and as they get older, kids are very smart. So they'll start to pick up on things. They'll start to peep things out, and they'll start to see, and they'll start to realize, like, man, every time mama gets a new boyfriend, she just casts us to the side and she leaves. But then we know that mama doesn't have a man, or she's not in a relationship when she comes back around and she's being a mom. But the moment she get herself hooked up with a new man, she just leave us and just put us to the side, and she runs off and be with this man. So children will start to pick up on that. And when we as women, as mothers, we abandon our kids, that's when different feelings, and the children start feeling some type of way, like they become resentful, they become, disobedient, and they become angry, and then things like hatred can start to swell up in the heart, because of you always just like looking at them and always treating them like they didn't matter, and always putting a man, before your children. And then children are starting to see how mom is with a different man. Like every time you look around, she's always bringing a different man home, and that is not, it's just not good parenting, and it's not being a good role model for our kids, where every time we meet a new man, we just got to bring them home around our kids. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes as women, this is what I believe, because so many of us, we're so broken, and there's so many shattered pieces, and there's so many issues at times going on inside of us, that sometimes we just want to be with a man, and we're trying to make him be something that he's not, or we're trying to get him to do what's not in him to do. So sometimes we're bringing these men home because we're like trying to make him be a daddy, or trying to make him be a father. We're trying to make him be whatever we want him to be, but that's not reality. Who he is who he is. And we can only do what's in us to do, and you can't make that man like want to be a father, or be in your children's lives, or do right by you, or do right by your children. That's strictly up to him. And this is what I also believe too. It's the state and it's the condition of that person's heart that will determine how well and how good he do by you and your children. So a person's heart and a person's spirit and their state of their heart and the condition of their heart is what really determines if he's going to do right by you and your children. So you have to understand that you as a mother, that whether you are in a relationship with a man or not, or whether things work out with you and this man or not, your kids was there before this man came, and your children will still be there if things go left, or if things don't work out with you and this man. So you know that it will always be you and your children. And I think that as a mother, that's how we should see that. And that's why it's so important to make sure that we know what boundaries are, and that we're actually creating boundaries, and that we know what standards are, and we're actually placing ourselves at a higher standard, and not just in and out of relationships with all these different men, bringing them around our kids, and then abandoning our kids, casting our kids to the side because we really want to be with this man, and We really want to spend time with him, but your kids are just left, alone and by themselves or with whoever, because you have chosen to just be with this man. And I have known women to actually just take their kids and just drop them off at family members' house and have chosen to run off to another state with a man. Like, you take over my kids, I don't want them, I'm going to be with this man. Situations where your kids are asking you to take them out to eat, and you telling them, oh no, I don't have money for us to go out to eat, but then this man calls you up and asks you if he can borrow $200, and fast, quick, in a hurry, you like at the ATM machine taking out money and going to give to this man. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times the money that we're giving to a man is the money that we're taking from our children. Like, us as women, some of us are taking the money that we really need to take care of ourselves and our children, and that we're giving it to a man, and we're telling our children, no, you can't have it, no, I'm not going to take you there, no, I don't have the money for that. And the reason you don't have the money for it is because you keep giving it to this man. You know what I'm saying? And this is my thing on it, that anytime a man doesn't mind you taking from your children to give to him, he's not a real man. He's not a real man. He's not a true king, and his heart isn't right. His heart isn't right. And what I want to say to that, before it actually gets that far, that you as a woman have to realize that before you actually start taking money away from yourself and your kids and your bills and giving it to this man. Like, you should be like, no, I'm not giving you any money. No, I'm not taking care of you. No, I'm not paying your bills. Like, you should be able to say no. I'm not giving you any money. That should actually be a boundary, that you will not be giving a man no money. And especially with you being a single parent and having, to work hard for everything, work hard each day to be able to provide for yourself and provide for your children, and to allow a man to come along and just feel like he can just take whatever he wants from you and that you're supposed to hand that over. That's when us as women, we have to put our foot down and say no. Like, no. I'm not going to take from myself and my children and my household and give to you. That's not that's not what's happening. That's not what's going on here. But women do that. Women do that. Women will cook for a man but won't even cook for their own kids. You know what I'm saying? Women will come home and bring home a meal from a nice restaurant, and their kids are hungry, and they tell their kids, go in the kitchen and fix you something to eat. This is mine. But if you always have to think of your children and be mindful of your children. If you are out somewhere and you're getting yourself something to eat, you don't come home and just eat the food in front of your kids. You make sure that you bring them home something to eat as well. And we have to be mindful of that, because you have to understand that it's your responsibility as a mom to mother your children, and to help them and to support them and to nurture them and to affirm them and to encourage them and to strengthen them and to be present, that they have you, they have your conversation, they have your time, they have your presence, they have you. You know what I'm saying? And that it shouldn't matter what man you meet or what man that you are choosing to date, that you're not going to go crazy over a man and just get out of your mind and get out of yourself over a man, and then you start rising up against your children. You start abandoning your children. You know what I'm saying? Because as a mother, you carried those children more than likely for 9 months. You birthed those children out. Those children came out of you. So you and your children are one. And a real man and a true king, like a God-fearing man, he knows that. He knows that you and your children are one. And he's not coming in, he's coming in to join the team. So in other words, he's trying to get to know you, and he's also working towards getting to know your children. So he's like, I'm trying to join the team. I'm not trying to put the team at odds with each other. So in other words, I'm not coming in trying to stir up any trouble or trying to come between the relationship that you have with your children. I desire to be a part of the team. That's how a true man, that's how a real man and a true king will see it. You know what I'm saying? More than likely, his heart is positioned right. His heart is right. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to talk about. Don't abandon your kids, to be with a man, because the man for you will see you and your children as one, and that he will accept your children because he really cares about you and that he really loves you. You know what I'm saying? That even if you are with a man and you realize that he's not really feeling your kids, then it's a possibility that he's not the man for you. He's not the man for you. And also, too, ladies, like, if you know that you don't curse your kids out, then you don't let no man come in your house, the house that you pay bills in, the house that you pay all the bills for, the house that you and your kids live in, and come in that house and say anything to your kids and start cursing your kids out. Like, you don't even talk to your kids like that. So why would you allow a man to come into the house that you and your children share and that you and your children live in, and just let him say anything to your kids? And also, you have to look at it this way too. Like, if you notice that every time this man is around your kids, he's always very negative with them, saying very negative things. He gets very irritated with them. He gets very frustrated with them. Like, that tells you something too, because a lot of children are losing their lives under the hands of people that really don't need to be around kids. They're very unstable and they don't need no kids, and when they're around kids, they can't handle it, and they just kill the child. You know what I'm saying? Women go to work. I've known women to go to work, leave the kids at home with a boyfriend, and the boyfriend isn't even, many times the boyfriend is not even the child's father, but they leave the kids at home so they can go to work, because more than likely, you could be with a man that don't want to work. He just want to stay at home, and then the woman is working, but she leave the child there, and next thing you know, this man then killed the baby. It was a situation like that where a young girl was at work, and the news came on, and that's when she found out that this man, while she was at work, just on the news, she was at work and she looked up and saw on the news that police was at her house, surrounded her house, and she realized, oh my God, that's my house, that's my baby. And this man killed her baby, and she lost it. Like, she lost her mind, over that. We got to stop doing that. We got to stop just leaving our kids with any and everybody, because a lot of people just don't have that spirit, and they just don't have that patience. They just don't have that care that's actually needed to take care of, especially when you have small children, and where you have to pretty much do everything for them, and you have to be responsive to their needs. Like, some people just don't have it. They just can't deal with that, and you have to know who you're dealing with and who you leaving your children with, and just know that I'm not going to abandon my kids. Like, he either going to be with me and also be with my kids. He either going to love me and love my kids, but I'm not going to turn my back on my kids or abandon my kids or drop my kids off somewhere so I can run off and be with this man. And there's been situations too where I'm usually like a lot into like court TV, and situations where men has actually talked women into creating a plan with them to kill their children. Like, women has actually killed their own children to be with a man. Well, he didn't want my kids, so he said for in order for us to be together and actually, live this happy life, I had to find a way to get rid of my kids. So he came up with this plan that we just kill the kids. Like, really? Like, you as a mother, let a man talk you into being a part of killing your children in order to be with him? Like, there's no way, ladies, there's no way, women, that we should be going to that extent or going to that extreme. Like, you have really lost your mind. Like, you are really out of your mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, trying to get me to kill my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of that is worth it. None of that is worth it. None of it. If he doesn't want your kids, he doesn't want you. And what's happening is some men are saying, okay, I want to be with a woman, but I don't want her kids. But us as women, we're falling for that, and we're falling prey to that. But a woman should say, if you want me, you want my kids, because I have children. It's just not me by myself. I'm a single woman, and I'm also a single mom, so if you can't just be with me, you also have to be with my kids as well. And that us as women, some of us are in and out of all of these different relationships, and we're bringing all of these different people and men and all of that around our children, and our children are seeing this. They're starting to see how every time mom is always bringing around a different man. Every time you look around, a different man is coming over, and him and mom is going in the bedroom, and the other night I saw this man, and now tonight I'm seeing somebody else different, and they always end up in mama's room and staying all night. And so your kids are starting to see that and pick up on that, and that's just a bad example, that we portray ourselves and we carry ourselves like that around our children. And sometimes us as women, we do it so carelessly. Like, we do it like it doesn't matter, like it doesn't really make a difference. And it does. When we act in that way, when we're bringing all these different men and in and out of all these different relationships, and we have small children, and things like that. And you just have to know who you getting yourself involved in, and who you dealing with, and before you actually start bringing this man around your kids, you have to know where the relationship stands. So if the two of you, and that the two of you are on one accord, on the same page, and the two of you are exclusive, and you know that, and he know that, and the two of you have now entered into an exclusive relationship, maybe it's time now to start introducing your children, to this man, but you have the mindset of, and you are fully aware that me and my kids are one, and that I'm not going to cast my kids to the side. I'm not going to put my kids to the side because you just want it to be me and you. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that a real man, a true kingdom man, he wouldn't even accept that. He wouldn't even buy into that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, what I've seen when it comes to actually a real man and a true king is that he's not trying to push you. He's trying to fit in where he gets in. He's trying to fit in where he can get in. In other words, that's what I'm saying. So if he knows, he understands, he understands pretty much single motherhood. He understands kind of what's that like, what that is like, and what it looks like. So he knows that you're pretty much busy, because you're trying to take care of you. You have kids you're trying to take care of, and just everyday life. So he's not trying to just come in and then try to divide you and your kids up, especially when you're trying to spend time with them, you're trying to spend quality time with them. It's certain days of the week, certain times of the day that you and your kids do things. So he's not trying to interrupt that. He's not trying to disrupt that. He's trying to get in where he fits in. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, he's trying to join the team. He's not trying to put the team at odds. with one another. So he's not trying to come in and cause division and discord between a mother and her children, and that's the difference. And I was going to do a video, I was going to upload a video on a man that accepts your kids versus a man that just deals with your kids. There's a difference between a man who accepts your children versus a man who just deals with your kids, and you have to know the difference. And so women, as I speak to you, I speak to myself, that we're not abandoning our kids for a man, because you should not have to abandon your kids for a man. Like, you should not have to change your whole life around for a man. You shouldn't have to change being a mother. Get this. You should not have to change being a mother for a man. You shouldn't have to change your relationship status with your children for a man. Because your kids will always be there. Whether that man is coming in your life to stay, or if he's just coming in your life just to be in and out of your life. Your kids will always be there. And that's how we have to see it as mothers. Like, my kids were here before you came, and they're going to be here even after you leave if this thing don't work out. But it will always be me and my kids. And that, you're not going against your kids. You're not going to abandon your kids. You're not going to cast their kids to the side. You're not going to be letting a man treat your kids any kind of way, say anything he want to say to your kids. He just cusses your kids out and treat them any kind of way. Like, no. We have to be mindful enough. And a lot of times, this is what I believe, that when you have so much going on with yourself, you're not healthy. You're not stable. You're not in your right mindset. So a lot of times you let things go on, and you let things happen from the very place that you're in, or from the very place that you're at, because you're not well, you're not together, you're not whole, you're not complete. So a lot of times when we're unstable and we have so many issues, things that are very unwise, and things that are unhealthy, and things that are not benefiting us, we see that otherwise. We don't see that it's unhealthy. We don't see that it's unstable. We don't see that it's not good for us. Like, we don't see that because we're not well and we're not healthy. So we can't see from that place of wholeness. We can't see from that place of healthy, because we're not there ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times when we're having a lot of issues, we tend to get ourselves involved in relationships when it comes to dating and things of that, with someone who also has a lot of issues, and they also have so much going on within themselves. You know what I'm saying? So when we get into a relationship with a man, and when he's disciplining we'll let him discipline our kids, and when he's saying things to our children that you won't even say to your children, we'll say, oh, it's okay, he's just disciplining them, he's just telling them, what's right or what's wrong. But you don't see how detrimental and how damaging that can be for your children. Like, him just cussing them flat out. Like, you say that's okay. He's just trying to get them in order. But his tone and the language and the words and the aggressiveness that he's using towards your children, like, you can't see that's wrong, because you're not where you need to be. You're not stable, and you're not healthy. And a lot of times when we're broken, we tend to get into relationships with people that are also broken, and they're not in a right place themselves. But we have to be very, very careful, and take care of ourselves, take care of our children, and just know that there is actually a real man and a true king out there that will accept you and your children, that will accept you and your children, and that will love you and love your children just like they are his own, just like he was a part of making those children, and he will take them on, has his own children. And there is someone out there like that, and this man may not come easy, and it's not going to be easy. But a lot of men that you date, a lot of men that you encounter and that you may go out on a date with is not going to be that man. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to get on here and talk about that, do not abandon your kids. Do not cast your kids to the side because you just want to be with a man. And a lot of times we want to be with him and it's all about him. Nothing else matters sometimes when we get so wrapped up and so tied up, and so tangled up and so emotionally invested when it comes to a man. Like nothing else matters but him. Like whatever he wants you to do, like pleasing him and being with him and satisfying him and giving him whatever he wants is all that matters. But yet we have neglected and have abandoned our children. So if you come onto my channel, I hope you like any of my content that I put out. Subscribe to my channel, click that notification bell, and anytime I upload a video that you will be notified. So make sure you stay safe and stay blessed.